Welcome back, collectors and numismatists. If you're passionate about coins, especially the US 1-cent coin, you've probably heard of the famous 1969 penny. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting, today we're diving deep into the fascinating history, design, and market value of the 1969 1-cent coin. So sit back, relax, and let's take a closer look at this iconic piece of American currency. Segment 1: Overview of the 1969 1-cent coin. Let's start with the basics. The 1969 1-cent coin, commonly known as the 1969 Lincoln penny, is part of the famous series that has been in circulation since 1909. This coin is a simple, yet integral part of American currency, with its history tied to one of the most important figures in U.S. history, President Abraham Lincoln. The penny has featured President Lincoln's likeness on the obverse or front side of the coin since it was first minted, following the 1909 design by Victor David Brenner. The reverse side has changed over the years, but in 1969, it featured the iconic wheat ears design that had been in use since 1909. But just 2 years later, in 1959, the reverse design would change to the Lincoln Memorial. In 1969, this was still the classic wheat-backed penny. Segment 2: History of the 1969 1-cent coin. To truly appreciate the 1969 penny, we need to understand the historical context surrounding it. In the 1960s, America was in a time of great change, politically, socially, and economically. The country was immersed in the Cold War, and the space race was in full swing, with NASA landing a man on the moon in 1969. Meanwhile, the U.S. Mint was churning out millions of pennies to keep up with the demands of commerce. 1969 was a year marked by several significant events, both in the US and globally. But when it comes to the 1969 penny, the coin itself wasn't all that different from pennies made in the years before. However, a key feature of the 1969 penny is that it was made with a high copper content, 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, which was the standard for pennies before the change to a zinc-plated copper core in 1982. Segment 3: Minting details and specifications. Let's now talk about the specifics of the coin. The 1969 1-cent coin was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, P., Denver, D., and San Francisco, S. However, unlike other years, the 1969 penny was not produced with a proof version for collectors. The total mintage for this coin was massive, as nearly 4.5 billion 1969 pennies were struck that year. Now, for some technical details: diameter, 19.05 millimeters. Weight, 2.5 grams. Composition, 95% copper, 5% tin and zinc, edged plain. Segment 4: The significance of the 1969 penny design. As we mentioned, the design of the 1969 penny was identical to earlier years in terms of the obverse featuring Abraham Lincoln's portrait. This design was created by sculptor Victor David Brenner in 1909, and it has remained virtually unchanged for over a century. On the reverse side, the 1969 penny still features the classic wheat ears design, which had been in circulation since 1909. The wheat design was a symbol of prosperity and the American farmer. The wheat-backed penny remained in use until 1958, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design. This makes the 1969 penny part of the final years of the wheat-backed series, adding to its collectability. Segment 5: Rare variants of the 1969 penny. Now, here's where things get interesting. While most 1969 pennies are not particularly valuable, There are certain variants that have gained significant attention from collectors due to their rarity and potential error types. The most famous of these is the 1969 double die obverse penny. In 1969, some of the pennies minted at the San Francisco Mint were struck with a doubled die, meaning that part of the design appears to be doubled, particularly around the letters in Liberty and In God We Trust. This is one of the most sought-after error coins from this era. If you happen to own a 1969 double die obverse penny in good condition, it could be worth thousands of dollars, depending on its grade. Some of these coins have been auctioned off for prices as high as $20,000 or more. Collectors and numismatists are particularly keen on finding this rare error because it is an example of a mistake during the minting process that makes the coin unique and valuable. Segment 6. How to identify a 1969 double die obverse penny. So, how can you identify a 1969 double die obverse penny? The most obvious sign is the doubling in the lettering on the obverse. The Liberty inscription will have a noticeable doubling effect, making it appear almost as if the letters are stacked on top of each other. Similarly, In God We Trust can also show doubling. To check if your 1969 penny has this error, use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Pay close attention to the date, the lettering, and Lincoln's portrait. If the coin appears to have been struck twice, you might just have a valuable piece in your hands. Segment 7. Market value today. Now, let's talk about the current market value of the 1969 penny. If your coin is in circulation condition, it will likely be worth just its face value, 1 cent. However, if your coin is in pristine condition or you have a rare era coin like the 1969 double die obverse, it could fetch a significantly higher price. Here's a breakdown of the approximate value of a 1969 penny based on its condition. In circulated condition, 1 cent to $0.10. In uncirculated condition, 50 cents to $2. A 1969 double die obverse penny can range from $20 to $50,000 or more depending on its grade and rarity. Of course, coin values fluctuate, so it's always best to check recent auction prices or consult with a numismatist to get an up-to-date assessment. Segment 8. Conclusion. So, there you have it. The 1969 1-cent coin might seem like an ordinary piece of change, but with the right conditions, it holds incredible historical significance and value. Whether you're a collector looking for rare era coins or just someone interested in the history of U.S. currency, the 1969 penny is an interesting and valuable coin to explore. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1969 1-cent coin, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you've found any rare pennies yourself, let us know in the comments below. Until next time, happy collecting.